want to get you in on this immediately. Again, this story comes the way of us from Insider Gaming Network. It was written by Tom Henderson, posted on August 10th, and it goes on to say all Black Ops 6 campaign cutscenes have leaked online. And of course, I'm going to read verbatim from the article, folks. It says the entirety of Black Ops 6's campaign have been leaked online over 2 months before the game's official release. The campaign has been uploaded to X, formerly Twitter, by user Kiv where they said, spoiler alert, I did a funny. And of course, they were hit with what is considered a DMCA. And if that is an issue of a cease and desist order, that, and I would imagine that their Twitter account has been closed, because this is a big one. Now the story goes on to say, according to our estimates, hundreds of people have already gained access to Black Ops 6 via jailbroken PlayStation 4 consoles. Some users have resorted to uploading the content online. Now, the campaign leak, according to the story, Steele, marks another huge blow to the developers behind Black Ops 6. So far, the entire beta build, and all of the game's achievements, and now the entirety of the campaign cutscenes are online. Now, I'm sure a lot of them have been taken down, but it is the internet. You can only do so much damage control. Speaking with several Black Ops 6 developers, they are understandably upset and frustrated over the large amount of leaks, which is an unprecedented amount for Call of Duty. One developer goes on to say, it really sucks to see our big reveal ruined like this. We were all excited to show it off in a big and special way. Black Ops 6 multiplayer is set to be officially revealed at the end of August in the COD Next event, which will be prior to, of course, the Black Ops 6 beta. Let's talk about this, because again, I know this, we're just being facetious, or at least I am being facetious. I just find it so odd that they upload this, meaning Activision, they upload this to PlayStation, and it gets leaked. Now, I've seen some really, egregious takes about whether or not this was done on purpose. I said it jokingly. I was never serious that someone at PlayStation is like this, and we're gonna fix their asses, and we're gonna leak everything online. I don't know, but I can say, and again, this is my opinion, is it because Sony does lack the vision for security when it comes to their platform? I mean, let's call a spade here. They have had some really egregious security leaks over the years, dating all the way back to the PlayStation 3 during 2006, where their service was shut down for months. And I mean, I've always said it jokingly, and maybe I'm being a little coy here. I always wondered whether or not their security online systems were held together by bubblegum and paper clips, because they always seem to be getting hacked one way or another. And the most notable one is, of course, the one where Wolverine, the game, you can play right now. All of those secrets behind, the Spider-Man multiplayer and a bunch of stuff for Insomniac were out there. This is not good, man. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, man. Nah, it's not good at all. I mean, Sony definitely seems to have been being consistent as far as back end goes, for lack of a better way to put it.
I
can't say it's for one reason or another. Could it just be because it was on the PlayStation 4? And because of that, there's some workarounds that you could put on there. The main thing that's really weird and concerning to me is typically when you mod something, and I know we're still working on how to get better with this as well, but typically if you mod something, there is something in the files that will tell you that will at least tell the server that some file has been tampered with. That's why there's certain programs and mods, like more visual based mods, that you can use on PC for some games that you can't use in online games because it's registered as an external piece of software or whatever, something running in the background that shouldn't be. So it's really concerning to me and interesting to me as well that PlayStation doesn't have a way, because I thought that they fixed it to where any modded PlayStation that went online was instantly banned. Now, maybe they lapsed in that a little bit because they hadn't had nobody do that in a while. Again, you brought up some good points, Boone, to where they've consistently have been having security issues for some time. I mean, to be honest, the entire industry has. But just to keep it in the gaming space, this is not something that I have to necessarily worry about being being in the Microsoft ecosystem. It's not ever something I have to think about, and that's something I have to wonder about. But it also comes down to people just being terrible people too, man. Getting any leaks getting put out by anybody is always bad work, man. It's not something that you want to do, downplay other people's hype, other people's excitement. But it has been a reality of not just this business, but many businesses where information just gets put out there. Now, seemingly, I do think that because of the amount of time Black Ops 6 has been given for development and how ready people are seeming as well, I think more information that comes out about the game, it's only going to do better for the game itself. So if this was done maliciously, as if like, oh, PlayStation's going to leak it out there so they can give Xbox problems, you're barking up the wrong tree. This isn't the 70-30 split that you were getting before, and Xbox is getting a 30. No, Xbox is getting 70, scratch that, more than that, probably even more towards 90 of what they were ever getting before. So it's like, I don't know necessarily if that's the case. I think it's just people being hype about Black Ops or hype about any game or anything, that any form of entertainment that comes out, and wants to get the information out there to people so that people can see what they're kind of working with. I think it's, again, I think the first leaks that were kind of being put out there on the streets a little bit was from the PlayStation 4. I'm surprised that the game is running on PlayStation 4. Again, we talk about things that are going to move the needle for, or move people to the next generation. And you see that Call of Duty is still doing the same thing. And again, I just think that this just more solidifies the fact that we're in different times. But it's never good to see stuff like this gets leaked out. I mean, we have these people that dedicate years of their lives to this work, and to have somebody just put it out and for whoever to see before it's even ready is it's just something that you got to shake your head at. But again, it is up to wherever the source was. If it was PlayStation, PlayStation needs to be held accountable. That's something that they need to make sure that doesn't happen again. There's plenty of ways to check that, and I know people are looking for ways to always get around that. But as we become more online, I lean more so on the side of, let's hold these publishers to feet to the fire and say, hey man, this has been an ongoing issue for you somewhat. Why is this or even allowed or possible, or whatever the case may be, even if it is modded PlayStations? So
You know something, dude? You schooled me once again, which you have done quite a few times today on the
oh
podcast.
no.
I did not know that if you put a PlayStation, a modded PlayStation 4 online, it was automatically banned. I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
know.
why they don't want you to do it. It's the same thing with the Switch. If you ever mod your Switch, and for anybody that does it out there, and of course, there's ways to get around certain things. But if you officially, like, if you get onto the Nintendo server, and like, let's say I go play Smash Brothers online,
Mhm.
you're going to get caught either by Nintendo themselves, and they're going to brick your entire device. And that was something that
Whoa.
Xbox was doing at one point as well. And I think why you don't have the issues with Xbox, as at least from what I've seen, because the last time that I've heard was one of my homies, he had a modded Xbox One, and it was an Xbox One X, and he had an Xbox One S that he modded because he's just ridiculous, has money that he just don't know what to do with, and can't help himself. But and he has throwaway accounts. He's just a weird dude. But anyway, but he had modded both devices, and he had accidentally put both of them online because they were connected with each other, whatever, because he was downloading the game, and they break both the consoles. He
Whoa.
couldn't, they can't unlock it, can't do nothing to it. It's done with. So
Paperweight. Wow. Well,
Yep.
you know what? I was unaware of that. But listen, good stuff as always, brother. Now, again, can you hang out for the next 10 minutes or so? Or you got to
Yeah,
bounce.
let's do it, man. Let's do
All
it.
right, let's excellent. So, Fuzzy, let's bring you in and get your hot take on this because, again, ultimately, I think where I can understand as a developer, and I'm not a developer, I'm a podcaster, so I don't make games for a living. I wouldn't even know where to start. But it does kind of suck to know that all the work that you've put into on a game gets out there and it gets leaked.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. That is horrible. Now I saw some people push back on this and say, well, boom, most people they don't play Call of Duty for the single player. And you know what? You're probably right. Listen, I played for the single player, but I haven't seen any of the cutscenes because I'm not actively looking for them. I don't care. The Call of Duty story is going to be what it is. It's going to be a Jerry Bruckheimer type of experience, I would imagine, where you are blowing things up and you have a pretty decent story beat. I'm not going to be spoiled by any of this. It still sucks nonetheless, and it does suck even worse that this happened thanks to modded or jailbroken PS4s.
Yeah.
It's disappointing. I don't think it's going to hurt sales. I just don't. It's going to be the biggest selling Call of Duty in a long time. I think that from what we've heard from the back end of it, where remember, this is the longest development cycle in years for Call of Duty. We've already seen the game looks fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Zombies looks amazing. The single player is going to be outstanding, even with the leaks or whatever. Let's get your hot takes on what happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and I may mention this before with Call of Duty for this particular title. I'm pretty sure there's now follow-up meetings like, man, we should have probably just made this next gen only, not just for the console sales standpoint, but things like this, like jailbroken PS4s has always been a thing, and a lot of times when you would see a lot of those updates, because I remember more so on PS4 as opposed to like PS5 now, the updates seem to be fewer and far between. But before, there was almost like weekly updates for a while they were trying to stay on top of these jailbroken PS4s, because what that can allow you to do is you basically download the software from the store without actually paying for it. It allows you to do other things within the games, almost as if it was a PC, where you can create mods and have access to DLC that you didn't pay for, or do things like GTA and have money bags drop on people you want to get banned in Rockstar games. So it's just funny to me that PlayStation and security are like on opposite sides of the spectrum, whether it's their own security for their customers' information, or just their hardware being hackable to the point where they have to constantly release updates to kind of patch some of those backdoor deals that people have been able to find. And as soon as they patch one, the same people find a new exploit. So it's Sony, while they're great at making hardware, suck at securing that hardware. Of course, Microsoft being the software company, not saying that they suck at hardware. They do actually really well with hardware. It's just either sometimes, like with the Surface brand, it's a bit pricier, but you get what you pay for. Or with Xbox, they try their best to make what is the most powerful at the time, even if devs decide that they don't want to do that. So all things aside, it sucks for the development team to have their work exposed prior to them, getting the chance to announce it and unveil it in front of the fans and see the reactions there, as opposed to reactions on social media because some knucklehead, jailbroke their PlayStation, and now they're trying to spoil it, and they're probably thinking, oh, I'm going to kill sales on this game. And probably what they did was actually do some free advertising for the fact that a lot of people like the movement that they see, like what they've seen on everything, not just like cutscenes and stuff, but the overall gameplay in general. And then seeing the zombie stuff, which they've just recently unveiled some things on that. I think this is going to be a solid selling, maybe one of their top 3 most selling Call of Duties, in the 20-year history. So this one, none of this is going to affect it negatively. I think the worst thing that would have happened is if they did go next gen only, is that there's going to be a handful of PS4 and Xbox One owners that are going to feel slighted and, probably hold off at least for the first few months until FOMO kind of takes over and they see like maybe a holiday bundle or something like that to hop into the next gen. But yeah, sucks for, from the anticipation standpoint, sucks for the devs seeing, some of the stuff spoiled in advance. But all in all, I think, these PlayStation ponies at this point that did it probably wanted that 15 minutes of fame as far as, oh, I leaked this stuff. And then, probably also thought, oh, I can, punch back at Xbox and Activision because they stole my favorite game, even though you still have access to it. And it's just going to wind up backfiring on them to the point where, yeah, this will probably sell more Xboxes and sell more copies of that game, just because a lot of the stuff that, Call of Duty fans are seeing are exactly what they want in Call of Duty. So we'll see how this plays out, but stop with the spoilers, people. Come on. Let's, at least hashtag spoiler, so that for those that do block, things like spoilers or whatever, or even things like on Reddit where you hashtag that, sometimes they'll block it out. So at least it gives you a chance not to see that stuff. So we'll see.